I'm Phil DeVol. I'm the author of Bridges to Sustainable Communities. And I've been involved with Bridges since the beginning, and I've seen many communities take our work on and do wonderful things. And we've learned a lot along the way, and I hope that we can give you some real distinct direction on how to begin. But there are some things that you need to know. I can't be real prescriptive because there's no two cities or counties alike. And we know that Bridges isn't a program, it's a set of ideas or constructs that people use, and they use them locally, which is really the huge strength of Bridges. So it means that we have to kind of work our way through this. And so I can start out with some things that you just know. You either like Bridges or you don't. Something attracted you to it. And once you begin to have that paradigm shift, I think that's the major thing that we offer people, is a whole new way to look at poverty issues and class issues in the US and beyond. So it's about attraction. So somebody hears this work, and how you hear it might be at a conference, or it might be a speaker that came to your town, or it might be a book you read, but you want to follow up, and that makes you the catalyst in your community. So you might be an individual who had an aha moment that could see that you yourself were being judgmental of people that were in poverty because they had big screen TVs. Now you think differently. Now you want something to happen in your community. You want to share the ideas with others. So you're thinking about what to do next. Some people in their institutions and are running organizations, and they're thinking, oh, I'm hearing things that make me understand that what I've been doing all this time is bringing resources to people in poverty that are basically maintaining them in poverty, when I could tweak what I do somewhat and actually help people get out of poverty. So people who are in places like food banks and working on homeless issues and working in community action agencies and health agencies and so on are the ones who are thinking about, how do we help people grow their resources? And so they think, we have to bring more people into this. We have to build a collaborative. We have to make it happen. The other catalyst could be people in our communities that are thinking at that higher level. And so you have foundations and United Ways. And they're looking at this and they're thinking, you know, we've never had a comprehensive approach. We are all just kind of going at this from within our own silos, none of us really intentionally working on poverty, when we could in fact be addressing things at a much higher level. So I want to talk to all of you. All of you are catalysts that need to go through some basic steps. So the first step is to gather people around you, share the ideas with them, and if need be, quickly bring in one of our national trainers to talk with a group of people that you think will like this. Always looking for the people who are attracted. The people who are then attracted to it, get their names on a piece of paper about what it is they want to do next, so that you never lose track of who they are and you can gauge them as this moves ahead. You want to plan with the end in mind. So later on, you want to have a full-blown community collaborative working that is sustainable and making plans for 20 years. So you want to be thinking about those things as you engage people at the early end, which means you have to collect all the names of all the people that are interested. Now from there, you want to bring in national trainers. And the bigger the city, the more times. So people come in and they hear this message, and you're always finding out who wants to use it. And so as you build this, I guess you would call it critical mass of people who like these ideas, they're going to want to start applying it. So our consultants can help you begin to talk about how you're going to apply this in your health center, how you're going to do it in your school or your college or as an employer. Our work can be used by any sector. So you want to be able to get people thinking about how they're going to apply this work. So the first step, get the initial information out, get together a small group of people to kind of be your team. The next thing is to do lots of building of social capital, get lots of people trained in Bridges, and get people thinking about how they're going to apply it. This work must be applied. I would say the fifth step for building a Bridges community is to engage people in poverty. That's one of the unique things about our work, is that we engage all classes in this work. Basically, Bridges training is provided to people who are in organizations, and they might be wealthy, they might be middle class. But for people in poverty, we're using getting ahead in a just getting by world. This gives everyone the same language once people have been through getting ahead. We want people engaged in our initiatives because we want to listen to them and find out what poverty is really like in their community. They are the people that are the experts at that level, and it's so important that they inform planners and decision makers about this. One of the huge problems in our country is that people are not at the table when they're in poverty, or not at the table when planners and decision makers are actually planning about poverty. And we take care of that by engaging people to be in this work with us. So ultimately, as they come out of getting ahead, and people begin to build their resources and stabilize their lives, they're going to find out that they're running into all these institutional barriers, community barriers, policy barriers. And that information has to come to us too, from people who are in it. That makes everything we do relevant. That keeps our bridges steering committees, if you will, as you build your collaborative. That's a sort of a generic term. As your bridges steering committee begins to work on helping people get out of poverty, they are doing that relevant work. So we have to have a system. We have to have more than a group of organizations that have embedded this work in their own organizations. That is fine, and we want all the organizations to do it. But you can't stay in your silos. If you stay in your each individual silos, you're not going to build a system that allows people who are coming out of poverty to actually feel the possibilities everywhere. So there are ways to get to that. One is to use Empower, which is what we recommend you use. It's a data system, computer-based, for tracking the outcomes for people who are in poverty. If all of our institutions use that particular strategy, and we had common metrics that we were pursuing in common programs that we worked on, then it wouldn't matter if a superintendent left a school or a CEO left an agency. What happens now is that a superintendent or an executive director who loves Bridges' work uses it, but when they leave, the next person doesn't, and then it falls. This way, we weave together a common approach with a common language, all starting from this paradigm shift that allows us to actually do work that 20 years from now is going to have a huge impact. So engaging people in poverty and building a collaborative for sustainability becomes the end product. That's where you're headed.